Hello everybody, my name is Sander and welcome to this short tutorial video about how we can boot our operating system onto a laptop, an Asus laptop basically. Basically what this is a Cosmos operation framework that we use, and that way we can basically make our own operating systems. So this operating system itself is currently um, basically a console operating system, basically just a CLI console, basically just console based. Very simple, but yes, it really helps. And you guys are welcome to contribute to this project because yes, it's also open source. So first of all, let's make some set adjustments. So to open this window, you can go into here, then sanCore debug properties, and that way we are able to change some settings here. So Cosmos does not support release mode at the moment, so it's all going to be run on a debug. So that's why this is on debug and not on release. So we have a launch mode profile. We can leave that as VMware, which is totally fine because it doesn't affect the ISO file that we're gonna generate later on. So first of all, we need to set up a compression for our kernel, which is basically the where everything loads first. So make sure that you have a gzip for that. So we're not going to use VBE multi-boot because that is for like graphics and user interfaces. We don't have that in our operating system yet, but but that could be later added, maybe. I don't know. Everything is possible. But make sure that remove boot debug output is also enabled because this will just make it faster to start up. Make sure this is enabled, compile with UAV, even though you'll see in a moment that we will not actually boot from UAV. We're gonna use legacy mode, okay? We're gonna use legacy booting, but you'll see that later because UAV doesn't work with Cosmos, really. That's yes, it says it is, but it isn't. But that's really weird. So bootloader timeout, basically I added 2 seconds just for it to kind of get into motion, not instantly start it. Um, and then the only thing you have to keep in mind is the debug, remote debugging. Make sure that this is also disabled. Otherwise, you will try to debug with something that isn't in real hardware. So that's basically what we do with this. So without further talking, let's actually work on our. Oh, let me save this real quick. Okay, so let's clean our project file. You can also directly build it, but I like to clean it first, then build it. Okay. In the meantime, I'm gonna show you something real quick. So I'm gonna insert my USB because we're gonna use an USB to actually to boot it. Otherwise, we have to boot it onto the laptop's internal like hard drive, but that's not really recommended. So make sure that you use an USB for that. um, so I use Ventoy for it. Basically, if you have a Ventoy, if you don't know about this program, basically it's kind of like go in here real quick. Basically Ventoy. You just open it from here. You just click on yes, and it should work. And then basically you can install it. I will just press yes. It will just overwrite what I already have installed, so that's fine. And then after this, you have Ventoy on your hard drive or hard drive on your USB. Um, Now you can just throw this all away, and you have a nice drive. So you can now input ISO files in here, as many as you want, basically. And you can boot them later on in just a little sleek menu, which you'll see in a minute, in a few minutes. Um, so let's see here. Yes, so first let's go to our, we can actually close this. Okay, we cannot close that, okay. Make sure that we actually open containing folder, binaries, debug, .NET 6.0, net 6.0, and then basically just have the ISO file that you have here, and then just copy that into here, and then basically that's it. Okay, that's everything you need to do for the desktop part. Okay, so I'm gonna switch over to a camera real quick. Yes, this should work. Yes. Okay, you should be able to see my camera right now. I'm already in its boot menu. Um, let me check something real quick. Yes. Okay, so you should be able to see stuff. Okay, so before I forgot to add something real quick. Make sure that you eject your drive, okay? So that's everything on that aspect, because now I can grab my USB and safely remove it from my other laptop. Okay, now it's in there. So I'm gonna reset my computer. Okay, I can enable it, and then basically make sure that you press the debug mode real quick, like that, okay? So I use a simple Asus computer. It's not very old, but it's also not very new. So the what you have to do with this, make sure that you have launch GSM enabled. Make sure that you have, uh, well, I have an PXE OP ROM, which is basically allowing me to have like CD-ROMs in there still. But make sure these are enabled. So further, make sure that you disable secure boot control in your boot menu. And that's basically all you have to do. Make sure that if you don't have launch CSM in your boot menu, that means that basically your computer does not support any like BIOS, legacy, startup modes. Okay, that means your computer cannot handle that. But if you do, then you are on the safe side. So further, we have here we have some boot options. So as you can see, boot option 1 is Windows. We don't want Windows, so we can select something else. Um, so normally you would think that you would have to select this, okay, UAV, USB 2. So these two are my USB that I inserted. I will show you what it will happen if I use my UAV version of this, okay? I will just save it and I will just show you what will happen. Okay, so it's loading, it's loading. Okay, so now we'll see something like this, which is the menu that I spoke about. Then you just boot it in normal mode, like this, boot in normal mode. Okay, so this is the delayed. Okay, now this will happen. Okay, you'll see this because the coloration in the operating system is red. Okay, this basically means Cosmos tells us like no, UAV doesn't work for you. So this means that we cannot. Normally this is actually a black screen, but because my color is red, it's a red screen. So it's at least it shows red in here. Normally it's black. So yeah. So if I turn off my computer real quick and I enable it again, and I will have to go back to its boot menu because we have to select not the wavy version, but I have to select the regular version. Okay, make sure that you do not use the wavy version, otherwise it doesn't work. Now just save, And then in a few seconds, you will be able to see that it actually works. Okay, so first of all, the Ventoy is loading. So as you can see, we have Ventoy working. So if I open the ISO file that we also opened a minute ago, we can boot it in normal mode again. Okay, and now it will load the kernel successfully. Okay, so this is what the operating system looks like, and now we can, for example, say help or something like syscheck, some some simple commands I added, which you can also use, which also align with the actual hardware that you have on your computer, which is very nice. We can also see something uh, like uh, um, like ooh, uh, like let me check some commands real quick. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. So, oh yeah. Sorry. Okay, clock. So you can actually see the clock. Yes, you can see the clock right there. We can also say something like uptime. So for example, we added I added like a here you can see how long the system is running. So some simple commands that you can use for yourself. And of course the history. So we can see how many stuff that we opened. So as you can see, we have first opened help, syscheck, then we did clock, uptime, and of course the history. So that works. So this is basically how you can render your operating system, um, which is completely fine, but it's kind of weirdly added on the side of. So if I go back to my yes, so if I go back in here, so what mentioned here is that if I go up here real quick. So this compile with UAV. So don't so that it says that it can compile with UAV doesn't mean it's actually able to run UAV. You can disable this, but it's not recommended. Okay, just keep this active, um, and then it should work. Okay. Well, I hope this small tutorial helped you how to set this up. Normally, like I said before, normally the screen will be black, like after the Cosmos sequence, boot sequence, it will just stay black. But my version has like the red, like if I can show it real quick in the code, which is basically I say like the foreground color is red, so it will just render the everything red basically. You can of course change this to whatever color you like, but yes, I hope this helped. A lot of I think it's a little bit more better to actually make Cosmos run on operating systems. I think it's much better now, and yeah. Well, thank you guys for watching, and maybe I'll catch you in the next time, next one. All right, later, guys.